What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 52 of the Great Western Podcast. Today is Saturday, June 27th. I am your host, as always, Marc the Wizard Mathurin. Today, we are joined by Coach Theory, Jay, the Lakers beat writer, and the NBA historian, David Chu. How you boys doing?
Doing
Morning.
great. Little hot out here, but trying to keep cool.
Coach Theory, where are you? You're in Paris, right?
Yeah, it's 100 something degrees outside.
Did you jump in the Seine River?
I'm gonna do that with guess who? Guess
Uh,
who I'm gonna go jump in with
I don't
later on?
know.
Wemby.
A friend of all, a
Great.
friend of all of ours.
A friend of all of ours, Michael Brady.
There you go.
There you
Oh
go.
wow! Shout out
Him and
Brady.
his
Shout
him
out
and his
Brady.
daughter.
Nice, nice. And then I see Jay, Lakers beat writer. You're in a beautiful location right now. Where are you at?
Yeah, we're broadcasting out here live from Belize, baby.
Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful. You're in a bungalow or like a what is
Yeah,
that?
Cabana.
Cabana. Nice. And NBA historian, I see you are in your lovely office over there in Colorado,
In the burbs, baby.
in the burbs of Colorado. Guys, sorry, I've been out myself the last couple weeks. I was on vacay, but now I'm back in action. Um, where we left off, we're gonna jump into the what do you call it, the finals. But Chu, you said you had some trivia for us before we get started on all things finals.
Sure. This is a quick.
Yeah.
This is a quick hitter.
Okay.
In light of the Clippers picking the fifth pick of the NBA draft, they now have three players on their roster that were picked at the number 5 spot. They recently picked Keaton Wagler, who is the next hybrid of Steph Curry and Halliburton. Apparently,
Remains
do you guys know the other two players on the Clippers rosters that were picked with the fifth pick in the NBA draft?
You're
If-
giving us Clippers trivia?
Okay, that's what I was looking forward to today. So
Damn.
Clippers trivia.
Keon Dooling.
It's NBA draft. It's NBA draft trivia. They just
NBA
happen to be
draft.
on the Clippers.
Keon Dooling? Was that's a great name drop.
No,
I don't
no.
think he was a
On the
lottery
current
pick.
on the current roster.
Oh,
So they
I'm
weren't.
Oh, on the current roster, not just like I was gonna say like Darius Miles or
But
something like
picked
that.
by the Clippers or
No.
picked by
Number
any-
five pick currently on the Clippers rosters. There's two
Oh,
others.
Who's the guy they just traded for during the season? I'm
Ben
blanking
Yes.
on.
Mathurin. Ben
Yep.
Mathurin.
No.
Yeah.
Not Mathurin. The other guy they just traded for, Darius Garland, was picked 5 by the Cavs in
Yeah.
2021. And in 2016, do you
Oh,
guys
okay,
have the
hold on.
last? Do you guys have the last person?
In 2016. Hold on, give us a second. I'm
The
not just trying to-
The fifth pick in 2016, that was when D'Angelo Russell got picked second, and I was super pissed at that. Or was that Lonzo Ball 2016?
Was
I
it John
forget.
John Collins?
Nope.
No. I'm trying to think who's on that squad right now. It's not Kawhi. Obviously, Kawhi.
He started last year, I think, for a lot of the games. Or he played spot minutes. He was their guard.
A guard that played spot minutes.
Oh man, come on! I thought this was the Great Western Podcast.
I don't do. I know.
It's
We're
not
blanking on the.
Clippers,
We're not,
man.
we're
They
not
lost-
Clippers
Chris
They
guys.
Dunn.
lost so
Chris
much-
Dunn.
Chris
Chris Dunn.
Dunn. Oh, I was never going to get
Clippers
that.
lost so much money for me last year. It's hard to watch them.
Chris Dunn, dude. I mean, I like he's revitalized his career over there because
He has.
Yeah,
has.
so I've been happy for that because he was drafted by the Bulls, I believe, and then
Yep.
he was supposed to be this like baller, and then he kind of fizzled out, and they found a home in Clippers. But nice. Okay, yeah. Well, look, we can talk about the draft. We can talk about all these trades. There's so much that's going on in the NBA, but we're gonna just get started on our finals recap. Now that the smoke has settled. And we have crowned the NBA champion, the New York Knicks, kind of a dominating victory, 4-1 with multiple comebacks. Where we left off, actually, it was 2-0 in the series, and that was our last episode. So flash forward, the Knicks have won. So there's a lot of narratives here. There's a lot going on with the youth of the Spurs and the championship pedigree of the Knicks and all of this. So we're gonna head it over to you, the NBA historian Chu. What is your take on this? What does the championship for the Knicks mean? What are your thoughts? Where do you want to take it? Floor is yours.
There's so many places to start. Instead of, I don't even know where to start. Okay.
Yeah,
Instead-
where do you want to go? Where are we going here?
Instead of congratulating the Knicks, let's bash the Spurs for a minute. Okay. So the Spurs, they play a broken down T-Wolves team with a hobbled Anthony Edwards, no Dante DiVincenzo, and a hobbled Ayo. And they play amazing, and we think they're the next great thing, myself included. Okay. Then they play the Thunder without their second and third best offensive players. The Thunder take them to 7 impressively. Coach Theory gets on here and starts bashing SGA, dancing around his living room, shooting hoops as soon as the game 7 ends, like he just won the lotto. And myself included, thought that this was going to be a wrap for the Knicks. And admittedly, I only watch a lot of, West Coast basketball, and I didn't really watch much Knicks really ever. And I thought that this was going to be an easy victory for the Spurs here, and this was going to be the start of a dynasty. What we saw instead was, I believe, game 1, Wemby has a chance to win it off of a jump shot and ends up flopping. Game 2, Wemby has a chance to end it, gets the rebound, throws it off of Castle's back, and then fouls Brunson. And
That
then
was the same game. That was game 2.
that was game 2. Okay. And then it's been so long,
Yeah,
but
right.
we saw a breakdown basically of the youth of the Spurs. Now listen, the Spurs are going to win many championships. Dylan Harper potentially could be a top 20 player of all time. He is amazing. I actually think if they had drafted Khan, they probably would have won the championship, only because the dynamic between Harper and Fox would not be so glaring. And I think from a fit perspective, Knippel would have fit perfectly for that type of scoring and that type of 3-point shooting. I actually think that Harper's going to be the much better player, but as far as team fit, Knippel would have been perfect for this team and exactly what they needed. Now that I'm done with that game 7, Jalen Brunson was one of the all-time best finals performances I've ever seen. The most recently was Giannis's 50-point, and then before that, Jordan's flu game. But it's up there, probably top 3, top 5 finals performance ever. And I did not know that Jalen Brunson had this in him, so I wish it went more. I know the league wanted it to go 7, but the will of Jalen Brunson and the complete collapse mentally of Wemby made this a quick series. 5. It was done.
Well, thank you for that, Coach. I mean, NBA historian. There's a lot to go there, Coach. I'm going to hit you with the rebuttal because I know he was he was
Yeah.
calling you out a little
All
bit.
right. All right. So I appreciate that you brought back, the after game 7. First, I want to congratulate the Knicks. They had an amazing run. They came together. That was a very impressive, because all season I did watch them and they weren't clicking like this. I mean, at the very beginning of the year, yeah, I chose them to come out the East, but that's just because the East was wide open. I didn't necessarily see them as dominant. And then throughout the season, I didn't think they'd be coming out the East. Then they started winning games and they put together a very impressive run and incredible finals. They beat my Spurs team. Congratulations to them. So we have a new championship, first one in 53, 56 years
I
or
think it
something
was
like
like
that.
53 years. Yeah.
So congratulations to New York and their city. Now let's talk about the Spurs. You mentioned that after game 7 of OKC, I was jumping around, dancing around my living room. Yes, I was. Absolutely. I was stoked that we got rid of SGA and his stupid flopping. I was stoked that that this young team at 20, 21, 22 years old decrowned the champs, especially when it's a team that I dislike. Secondly, you said, historian, you said that you even thought that they were going to take the Spurs were going to take it. Who on the podcast did not say that?
Yeah,
I
you
was
were
the one to say.
you
I
were
was the one
worried.
to say, hold on. There's a very good chance that these Knicks win,
That's true.
even before the series started. I was happy because more so, and throughout the year, I said it. Yeah, I want the Spurs to go and win and take the chip, but I always said they might come short, right? For me, my chip was that OKC series. For a lot of Spurs fans, it was the OKC series. For Wemby and the Spurs, that was their finals, right? And of course, that's a lack of maturity. But I like to see this team grow, and I've seen them grow from day one. And this is part of that growing pain. They needed to go through this because the level of immaturity that the Spurs showed in that finals is just, right in your face. No one can deny that. At 21 years old, that's like I'm surprised they even got this far, right? And I think most people are. So to see what I saw out of them, I'm happy. They had a terrific season. They continually, defied expectations. They fell short of the ultimate goal, but they're going to come back and take it. That's for sure.
Okay.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. Well, Jay, we'll take it to you. Where are you at? So hearing what the historian said and what Coach Steve said, what you going to respond? Will you have your own take on it? Where are we at?
Well, I just think that Sylvan, like a lot of the times you criticize how teams like celebrate too early, or
Yeah,
talk to me,
absolutely.
talk
Yeah, yeah,
talk to
yeah.
me, talk to me when you want a ring,
Yeah, yeah.
blah
Job
blah
done.
blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
Good
So
point.
Yeah.
I just want to point it out, that like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Job
you
wasn't
fell into
finished.
the same rhythm of all that stuff that you kind of like talk
I let
crap on. But
myself do that for this specific team because I just wanted OKC out of there. That was my championship. I didn't even give a crap about the rest.
for sure, and I
Yeah.
get that. But a championship in the Western Conference Finals isn't a championship, and
No, of
so
course not. Of course
Hey,
not. They
yeah,
didn't get a chip.
do you think the Spurs will hang a banner for their Western Conference championship against the injured OKC?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
think traditionally that's what happens.
No one does that. Jay. Well, let me ask you, Jay. Do you think the story was that the Knicks took it to them, or the Spurs weren't ready? Like, what do you think is the main reason? How would you describe that final series? What did you see on the court? What was the
well.
difference maker?
I think there's a lot to say about Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges playing together on that championship team and winning the national championship, and how that like level of experience carried over into this finals run. Um, I think that is like in large part what got them their championship, because that type of chemistry is what the Spurs are trying to build. And I think the Spurs are obviously on the road to create that same type of chemistry with Harper, Castle, and Wemby.
Of course.
So they'll get there, but the Knicks were just the better team, and they got outcoached. The Spurs got outcoached, and the experience and the vet experience with like OG, Mikhail, Cat really was the difference maker in my opinion for that series. And I mean, I just think Jalen Brunson has been counted out so many times in his career, and everyone's always said he's too small. You can't win with a guard that's not that
Yep.
tall. But if you watch that footwork and the way that he creates space, I mean, I think he's better than SGA.
Dang.
It's that's definitely a discussion now.
Well,
It has
I
to
was
be.
okay. So, I mean, to your point, I was watching this Instagram thing about like, how they do those redrafts? Like, if the draft was today, don't forget Luka Doncic also went that year, right?
Yeah.
Of those three, Doncic is the one without the chip. He had a nice deep run with the Mavs. But yeah, like, can you say right now that the body of work of Brunson says his career he's better than SGA? That's so
And
bold.
maybe Luka.
And
maybe
Luka. And Luka, they were on the same team. Can you believe that? But yeah, I agree with you, Jay. That footwork was next level. The way he was
Yeah.
kind of even making Wemby he was taking Wemby to the rack, like laying it up. He's a
Not
lefty,
scared.
right? Yeah.
No one on that Knicks team was scared of Wemby. Nobody. They were shooting over him. They were taking it to his body. And I also think that Wemby was probably a little fatigued. That was a deep run, and I don't think he's ever experienced basketball like that. So I think he was tired. I mean, he
Yeah, and
still put up.
I think the moment was bigger than him as well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe. I think he's ready. Mentally, he's ready. He just made some errant
I,
plays.
I don't
He
think
is
mentally
not.
he was ready.
He is
I
not
don't think
mentally
mentally
ready.
he was ready at all.
Dude, that turnover off the back of Castle, like it was bonehead, like maybe like one of the worst turnovers you could ever have. Like you had the,
Yeah.
Well, what about game? I'm not sure what game it was where he was saying, "I'm in your head now. I'm in
that
your
was that
head."
game. That was
That was game 5.
that was
That was game. No, that was game.
that was game 4.
That was
5.
game 4. That was game 4.
Yeah, game 4. He says,
was
I'm
the
in your
comeback.
head.
That was the game when they were
go
up
30
29.
points. They go up 29 points, and then he
Yeah.
has a complete mental breakdown. I think he
Yeah.
misses 3 of his final 4 free throws too.
He
And
missed
missed
some big
2
free
of them.
throws. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that someone who can say that I'm in your head and then immediately goes on the biggest mental collapse in NBA Finals history.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And I was honestly left speechless after that game. We took a video of it. We'll upload it to the pod
Oh,
later.
dude. Yeah. Coach Theory and I we were literally in Kefalonia, a beautiful island
At
in,
3
Greece,
a.m.
3 a.m. in the morning
At
watching this
3
game.
a.m. and I was stoked. My brother was stoked. We were all super happy because we thought this game was in the bag. We thought it was going to be 2-2.
Right.
Never did I imagine the most epic collapse in history, but the fact that it happened after that, I'm in your head. To me, I was left speechless after that game, and I'm still kind of speechless. And I kind of look at it as like, dude, the kid's got a lot of growing to do, a lot mentally, a lot on the ball. Like the ball side of things, he's one of the most dominant already. He does lack a go-to move that could have helped us out. But the way he broke down, we point at him because he's the star, he's the main guy on the team. But you got to also look at the complete disappearance of Fox and
Yeah.
Keldon Johnson, and
That
even
layup
Kyle.
was huge. They have the ball, right?
He
What game
did. He
was
did
that?
get, a lot
He
of
got
risk, but
hit,
he shouldn't have gone up for that layup. Fox, a veteran would have pulled that ball out and let the
he
clock.
is the veteran. He's supposed to pull that ball out.
Exactly.
He has the ball.
Exactly.
They're
So
up
that was
one
a
with 6
big
seconds.
collapse.
Yeah.
That was
He
a
needs to be
huge, huge
investigated. He needs to be
collapse.
investigated, dude.
And
He
then
threw that.
also game five, because even game five, the Spurs had the lead. Um, Castle goes 1 for 10. So these are the signs of young team when the moment's bigger. They just didn't have it mentally. Because skill wise, I definitely know that team is more skilled than the Knicks. They're a better team,
I
but
don't
just
know,
mentally
man.
that.
I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you can say that around that. It's like Jay was saying the other
Look,
day. They
so
won
let
the
me put it
chip.
this way. Let
They
me put it.
won. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, sure. But let me put it this way. The Spurs led for about 75% of that series, right? They were leading by
Good.
double digits, right? Granted, it's a 48-minute game, right? What you see from younger teams is collapses at the end, giving up a lead, right? That's what happened for literally every single game. If the game had ended in 46 minutes, the Spurs would have won that series 4-1. They were up with 2 minutes left in the majority of those games. That being said, obviously, it's a 48-minute game. You have to win it, right? Knicks did that in 48 minutes. But you have to be good enough. Like if let's say the Wolves were in this series or the Nuggets were in this series against the Knicks, they probably wouldn't be leading any of the series whatsoever, right? So that's why I think that the Spurs absolutely have what it takes in terms of skill and personnel to win this chip. All they lacked was experience, both mentally and in the game. You
All right,
know?
I'm gonna make a suggestion. I think we should, instead of Coach Theory, we should change your name to Coach Atkinson.
Coach Atkinson. There you go.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
right.
in the words of the great American poet Vin Diesel, winning is winning. Doesn't matter if you win it by an inch or a mile.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I hear you. Like, yeah, they played well, but they lost, dude. If a horse
No, sure,
runs the
sure. But
race,
so let
yeah.
me ask you then. Let me ask you then. Why are the Spurs the favorites to win it next year over the Knicks?
Look,
Because the league is trying to create Wemby as the golden child.
I'm not gonna get in that tinfoil hat stuff.
well,
There's a this
your
isn't the
argument. So
league.
your
This is
argument is they're a
Vegas.
better
This
team
is Vegas odds. This isn't the
because,
league.
Yeah,
for
because
next,
Vegas takes into account that the league wants the Spurs to win. I've never seen such a lopsided referee. Okay, so there's three things
okay, we even
happening.
get into
Okay,
this here. The referee. Oh,
If you want to
okay.
get into the
All right, here we
referees, this
go.
is going to be a
Wemby
very long podcast.
Wemby is consistently committing flagrant fouls. Okay, whether it's elbowing people in the face or crowding their landing space off their jump shots, which happened
No,
twice, which they didn't call,
no.
which would have resulted in player suspensions for the following game. But more importantly, in games 4 and 5, the league was trying to foul out Karl Anthony Towns basically from tip off. And so I think what you're going to see is over the coming years, as the league tries to push Wemby on us, is there's going to be a big backlash against Wemby, and it's already started. And he is going to become the greatest villain the NBA has ever seen. And the reason that works is because he's such a talented player.
So look, Wemby doesn't even care about all of that because all that's narrative. Wemby's going to go focus on his game. That's what he's going to do. If he needs to be villain, cool. He'll channel his inner Mamba. He grew up studying Kobe Bryant. But I don't even care about any of that. Let's take a look at these. What you're amazing at doing is nitpicking certain things, like
It is amazing, honestly.
foul out cat, right? The amount of non-calls that went both ways
I agree with
was
that.
ridiculous. I mean, some backcourt violations, some, stepping out of bounds when it wasn't out of bounds on that 29-point comeback. I didn't even care about those calls because I said, look, if you erase a 29-point deficit, I don't even want the W. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't even care that Fox hadn't stepped out of bounds or that foul on Fox at the end or any of those missed
The
calls.
backcourt
So
on Jose Alvarado.
The
you can't
backcourt
tell
was a
me
big
that the
one.
Well, the
league
backcourt on
is
Jose
saying
Alvarado wasn't a backcourt, but all the other ones, yes. But the
you
Alvarado
can't you
was
can't
legal.
you can't tell me that the league is saying, okay, foul out cat, but also like these calls are missed. No, like
That's exactly
it's
what's
just
happening, dude. That's
So,
No, I
exactly
don't
what's
so,
think
happening.
no,
so.
no, no.
so you're saying, well, your stance is that the NBA has no direct influence on how the refs are calling the game.
No, that's not my stance.
Okay.
That's not my stance.
Understand it.
I'm just saying that there were missed calls both ways. So to say that the league wanted this to happen, therefore they were fouling cat or not fouling cat or whatever to try to get them to foul out. I don't see it that way. Those were calls that were made. It's not the league that was doing that.
My prediction
The
my
only
prediction
hold
is
on,
Wemby will be
true, true, true.
the
Let me
greatest
go
villain
with
in the
you on
NBA.
this flagrant foul stuff because one could make an argument that you want Wemby to play, and so therefore you're not going to call certain flagrant fouls.
Duh.
Yeah.
You got to put all of those plays into context, right? The shove to Brunson's head definitely should have been a flagrant. Okay, they didn't call it. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was to have him stay and not get suspended. I don't know.
Definitely.
Of course, that's why they didn't call it.
Hold on. But let me rebuttal that. Hold on. Then the following game, they gave a flagrant to I don't think it was Cat. It was their other center.
Oh,
Big
Mitch
guy.
Yeah, it
Robinson.
was Mitchell
So
Robinson.
they gave him a flagrant, right? And it was essentially for elbowing Wemby or something like that, right? I don't think that should have been a flagrant, right? But then what followed was a play where Cat is holding on to Wemby and Wemby's trying to get loose, and doing so, he accidentally hits Cat across the face. He got a flagrant for that. That definitely should not have been a flagrant. They gave it a flagrant because A, they didn't give him a flagrant on the Brunson. B, they had just given a flagrant to Mitch, right? So you see, you gotta put it more into perspective. You can't say like, oh, it's just this, therefore they want 7 games,
No, you
right?
have to put it into the perspective that this was the highest
Hold on.
watched
So
finals since
Yeah.
1998, and they wanted to keep their
sure,
star
sure,
player
sure,
in.
but hold on. What about the fact that when there was that scuffle, the whole entire New York bench got off the bench and got on the court? That's
Right.
usually automatic ejections. We didn't get that, right? What about the fact that Josh Hart, or no, sorry, not Josh Hart, Alvarado literally picked up Wemby by his legs and
Yep.
fought like
Yep.
no
Yep.
flagrant there.
Yep. I
So,
agree.
so to say that, oh, just these calls means therefore they want Wemby, they want 7 games, etc. It's just there's just way more going on, and you have to put it into context of the entire series and the entire playoffs run.
Okay, so Mark, do you find Wimby more or less likable after this playoff run?
Look,
That's
I
a completely different
okay.
subject.
Okay.
Completely different
No, it's
subject.
not.
Okay. I will say this. There's a lot going on here with this specific thing. I do think, Chu, that it has been amazing to see how Wemby has gone from this darling to a heel basically overnight when he was like this thing. But this all narrative about like the NBA wants to prop him up, therefore the calls are going bad. I think that's a lot of moves down the line to say that that's what it's going to be. I
We
do
just
think,
have to
yeah,
ignore a lot of
I do
stuff.
think
That's
what
the
I
case.
think has happened. The Knicks were bodying him up a lot. They truly were, and some of those bodying up, like the Alvarado picking him up, they were elbowing, they were hitting him. It was like how like Shaq was guarded back in the day. Eventually, they're gonna push back, and I think it was good for Wemby to kind of push back. I don't think that it was like, yeah, he had a meltdown. I think the Knicks were staying cooler, calmer, more collected. I do think that it was going both ways, and it's very easy to pick and choose because there's a ton of plays where you can see the Knicks doing extra grabbing, extra holding, extra this, extra that, but they're being scrappy. They're being, where's the line between physical basketball and dirty plays? Like if we're gonna call, if we're, you, I don't think you can say that Wemby's dirty, Knicks weren't dirty. It's not that clear. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of physical basketball, and the Knicks came out on top because they were calmer, cooler, more collected when it mattered the most. That's what it
Resilient.
seems like to me. They were more
Resilient.
resilient. They were down by 29 points and they won the game. Like they
Incredible. Incredible.
I don't think that you can easily just say, oh, it's the NBA wants this, so they foul out Cat. He made some boneheaded moves and the refs called them. Like I don't think it's that like micromanaged. Yeah, maybe there's narratives, but and if that's the argument, Chu, then why wouldn't the NBA want the Knicks to win? And look what's happening in New York. Why
No,
would
they
want
wanted they wanted it to go to 7, is what they
Yeah,
wanted.
but I do
Which
think,
I'm all for.
yeah, yeah.
If you guys need to make calls or not make calls, so it goes to 7,
Do it.
do it. I go that does like you didn't suspend players for coming off the bench against the Knicks. Like there's an inherent value of having everybody play,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, in this situation, fine, we're not gonna call it. Like
Blow
we
the
need
whistle.
like you're not gonna suspend everyone for the finals. Like,
So
and I don't think anybody's complaining about it.
Yeah.
Look, even if the league wants it to go to, even the fans want it to go to 7, right? But at the end of the day, there's so much more that's bigger than what the refs can do. The refs can only do so much, right?
And that's
Well-
what happened. The Knicks were so locked in that nothing you
So
could have
therefore this
taken
theory of they're trying to foul this or that, but there was if the refs truly said, okay, we want this to go to 7, let's make the calls, they would have called that foul at the end on Fox, right? They would have called so many other calls that they missed.
That was
Right.
a fact.
Yeah, it was a foul. It was a foul. But
So
OG
we
in
can't
that
just
game,
say only the fouls that supported my theory are relevant in this situation. That's just not how logic works, man.
let's Solis, let's take a minute and talk Harper for a second, because I know that you and Sylvain have been on this for a
My
minute
favorite
here.
player in the NBA.
He's
I'll say it
amazing.
right here.
what do you like about him, Jay? What do you like about him?
Oh my God, everything. His athletic ability, his read on the game, the way that he's always moving downhill, changing directions, creates space, isn't afraid to take the big shot. He's poised, the way he speaks on national television. He's educated. He's got heart. He's a dog. He plays
He's got-
incredible defense.
He's got a hot mom.
Yeah, your Chu's favorite.
He's 6'6", which is like it's a little deceiving how tall he is. Like you don't look at him and say, "Oh, he's a tall player," but he's the same size as Kobe, Jordan, all the greats. And I think he's the future. I think he's going to be probably a top 3, 4 best player in the league.
Would you move De'Aaron right now, like next year? Like move
Not even a
De'Aaron
question.
now?
Yes.
Yes.
But after the way that he threw those games, not even a question. He'd be out. Next bus. Don't even get on the team plane.
Those are some really bad turnovers. I mean, I do think that Harper did really kind of, as a rookie, his poise, the way he plays the game. Like you got to get this guy more minutes, and he's the future. Him.
If you're gonna play Fox next year, trade Harper to the Lakers.
I would love that.
Trade Harper to the Lakers
As an upcoming Lakers season ticket holder. Thank you, Jay, for getting me on that.
Which we also got an upgrade for. We're actually 4 rows lower for the same program. 4 rows lower on the opposite side on the aisle.
Even better, dude.
So our tickets just got
For
even
the
better.
for the 116s.
Harper's going to stay in San Antonio.
Yeah, I think he'll stay there. I mean,
if you guys go back to one of our first pods of this season, there was an interesting poll being put up about whether or not I'm a bandwagon fan. That was a good one.
Why are you bringing that up?
I'm bringing it up because I responded on that poll. I responded about the Spurs and how they're heavy at the guard position, and that I was stoked about Harper and the number 2 pick. And now we're in a position where we have Castle, Harper, and Fox. And I said the only one that I would get rid of at this point is Fox to make way for Harper and Castle. Would I do it this next year? It depends. I mean, if we can move Fox for a stretch big 4, then I would do it.
You would have you would have to
I'll hit
attach
you with a check. Check. You said if I had to pick, I would let Fox go and signing him to a max error, considering the talent Spurs have for years to come. Fact checking here, coach. Yes, that is what you said.
I
Correct.
know what I said.
I know.
Wow.
You're just, just
Kept
checking.
receipts. He kept receipts.
Yeah, I gotta keep the
No,
receipts.
it's just when you speak your truth, you know what you say. You know,
Amen, brother.
you don't
Amen,
jump
dude.
around to a million things.
Amen. Well, so where does I mean, what is anyone gonna want Fox? He has a big he's guaranteed like he has like 4 years.
I think Fox is going to stay on the Spurs next year, and I
because they
think
can't trade him though. His value is at an all-time low. Who would want a point guard, an aging point
well,
guard
look,
who can't,
look,
who throws
he had
turnovers in the most important games of the year?
he had an atrocious final series, but I don't think we would have even gotten there if it weren't for Fox throughout the entire series, or throughout the entire season. Fox
Sure.
had a tremendous season. Keep in mind he was an all-star. He was an
I
all-star
actually,
this year.
I actually wouldn't trade him because, as we've seen with some of these players, like if you don't have a rotational player like at that position, there's a lot of wear and tear on the players throughout the course of the year. So I think you got to kind of like distribute the minutes a little bit to maintain health for in the playoffs.
Look, whether you keep him
Sure.
and you still have Harper off the bench for another year and then you ship him later on, I would not ship him just to make way for Harper right now. I would only ship him if we get because the Spurs do lack a
Yeah.
solid four. That's the
They just
only way.
drafted someone. They just drafted that 6'9" power forward.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want him starting because next year I want a chip. Next year I actually do want a chip, and I don't want a rookie starting. At the four, I would love to get Aaron Gordon. I'd be stoked if that happened. Or I'd love to get Markkinen.
You don't want Aaron Gordon, dude. Trust me. You
He's
don't
gonna
want
get
Aaron
hurt.
Gordon.
He's gonna get hurt a
He's gonna
lot.
get hurt.
He's hurt. Yeah.
I have a theory on that, which we'll get into another time.
Well, because the thing about Fox and Harper is they can't really share the court together that much, right? Like there's too much of an overlap in their games, and already Castle is there too, so it's hard to split the minutes. But I agree with what Jay is saying about during the course of the season, it's you need ball handlers like that was that it shows that you need backup ball handlers and stuff like that, and just like rotational players. So. I mean, we'll see how what Mitch Johnson does to kind of distribute the minutes, especially when the playoff minutes when it comes down to the playoffs. But I mean, it's gonna be a tough climb to get back up that hill. I mean,
Oh
there's so
yeah.
many things we could talk about. I mean, we could make projections. I mean, but well, there's still a lot that like we haven't covered in terms of like, well, OG Anunoby.
Amazing.
If it wasn't for him, that hand that putback,
That was incredible.
like
One in a million.
He did
like
that for
what are
Dan
the
Hathaway.
chances of
And
that?
talk about lack of experience to not box him out.
That
Well,
was on
yeah,
Fox.
The Spurs seem so confused. I mean, they had already lost that game because I think they were just so shocked by the 29-point comeback that they didn't even realize where they were. If you look at the replays of the lap position, like even before the ball is inbounded, they're all kind of like pointing at where each other, they were completely lost.
Yeah,
Um,
we should
but
we should give some
at
Knicks.
least box out your man, you know?
Julian Champagnie, you might have to go, homie.
nowhere.
You
Yeah.
might have to go.
No, OG
Devin Vassell,
Well,
Anunoby.
Devin Vassell played really well.
Champagne is the starting four for the Spurs. I would definitely like an upgrade. Yeah,
That's
he
what
can
it
shoot
was.
the ball.
That was one of the big issues with Champagnie at the starting four with running four guards and Wemby. The Knicks were too big. Yeah, fine, Brunson's small, but Hart, Obi, OG, Bridges, and Cat, they were big. They were 27-year-old guys playing against 22-year-old guys. They're just
And
bigger.
you remember what I said in our last podcast after game two that because of their size, I wanted to play French vanilla, right? We didn't see
Yeah.
any of French vanilla. Mitch Johnson is
No
also a
one
very
knows.
young coach. It's his second full year. It was a second full year as a coach. He's still figuring out how to do this right. You know, he has a great mentor. I still love Mitch, and I hope that he continues to be the coach for many years to come. But he's got a lot of things to figure out.
Okay,
You have
shout
to
out to
have your guys ready for those
Yeah.
crucial possessions in which they lost.
shout out to the Knicks. Shout out to the Knicks for
Sure.
isolating Julian Champagnie on every play that they could. They were putting him in the ISO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jalen
yeah, he's
Brunson
the
was putting
weakest link
Champagnie
on
in the ISO.
defense.
Dude, they were just cooking him.
Yeah.
Cooking him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's all I had to say.
Well,
Like
I wanted to say that not all championships are created equal, and by Brunson bringing this championship to New York, for the first time in 50 years. This championship is definitely ranked as one of the best all-time championships of all time, up there with Dirk. You know, when you compare what it meant to the city, what it meant to the franchise, and the type of team that was assembled,
And with the
and
short
the fact that
comeback,
he took a
absolutely.
and the
Yeah.
fact that he took a pay cut to assemble this
29
team.
point comeback is out of control, dude. We were watching, like,
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe what I was watching in front of me. OG again, comes off the bench, drains a three. I think he was like 7 for 9 in that game. I couldn't believe that there was such a massive meltdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's imagine being in the stadium as a Knicks fan. I mean, I remember, wasn't it that was the game Wu-Tang? Wu-Tang was there and
Yup.
They said Knicks in 5 at halftime. I'm like, all right, guys, like I don't know. You're still calling it. I love the confidence in your squad, but no way they can come back. And that's the thing about the Knicks. That's the thing about that kind of they don't get they didn't get shaken no matter when they were losing, no matter when they were losing, and they just kept playing their game. They kept playing their game, and that's what I think. Like the leadership, and we've talked about that at length. But the leadership of Brunson, like even now, like. Are we still doubting him? Like, what can we say about the value of this player now? I mean,
Yeah.
Brunson is,
Well, he's a champion.
yeah,
He's a chip.
I watched what he said, like, because he hears all that noise about he's not good enough. We talked about it a lot. Everyone has always doubted him, and he on that podium. You know what he said? I was watching. I don't know if you guys watched it. He was like, if you win, you don't really have to say anything to all those doubters. And that's what it is. Like, let your game speak for itself. And he's very much one of those leaders that just kind of shows with his game. He never gets shaken. He's 1 for 9. He hits a big three. He's 2 for 10 but the one that he hits the one that matters.
Clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Clutch.
Big time player. That was an incredible run.
He
Yeah.
leapfrogged, Charles Barkley, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, all these greats. He just jumped right in front of
Is he
them.
the greatest Nick of all time already? More than Ewing? Probably. Yeah, right. You gotta say it.
I was like, can you imagine being Jalen Brunson in New York City? Any
Yeah.
restaurant you walk into, dude, any establishment, they're like, Mr. Brunson, we got a table here for you, right away, sir. Like,
Yeah.
So sick.
and what a better city to like have that crown, like King of New
Yeah.
York. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
New York has always been synonymous with basketball, and it's kind of sad that, their last chip was so long ago. They had some really, really bad stretches, but to see them on top, I think for the basketball world is terrific. And
Yeah.
honestly, after that 29-point comeback, I got texts from people checking in on me, seeing if
Yeah.
I was okay. Like literally checking in on my
You were.
mental state.
You were okay. You were okay.
I was totally fine.
Coach, I will
Because
say.
look, man, for me, that was one of my all-time favorite games as an
I admire that
NBA
about
fan.
you. I admire that about. I know you're a Spurs fan, but I know you're a basketball
Yeah,
fan
no,
too.
as an
You were.
NBA fan, that was probably the greatest game I have ever watched. Um, Obviously, being a Spurs fan, that's heartbreaking, but at the same time, like it's so poetically right for where the Spurs are at. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to get through this. We're not champs yet. The Spurs are not champs yet. And if they want to be the greatest, they're going to have to go through all this, right? Um, so I'm really stoked for New York. I'm really happy for basketball in general. And I remember after that game just being like, I love this sport. I absolutely love it. The ups, the highs, the
Yeah.
lows, the downs, the mind blown. Like it had never happened, a 29-point comeback in finals history. And here we go. Now it's possible. It's been done.
I
New
will
York
say,
potential dynasty.
I'll digress for a second. I will say I am getting that same feeling with this FIFA World Cup. I mean,
Sure.
just seeing the countries play against each other brings such like a sense of nationalism that like it almost is the same feeling I get when I watch like the NBA playoffs.
I
I've been
mean,
enjoying the World Cup
World
quite a
Cup is
bit.
my all-time favorite thing. Every four
Yeah.
years, I lose my mind. And honestly, that finals kind of felt on that level for sure.
Yeah.
The epicness of it, the grandiosity of it was just out of this world.
Big playoff series. All of the playoffs are great, but I guess you guys think I mean, Vegas aside, someone's gonna have to beat the Knicks again, right? Like if they stay healthy, like this is a team that knows that they're on top. But when once you get to the top of the hill, who's gonna knock them off? You know what I mean?
It's hard to stay at the top.
Hard to stay at the top of the hill. So we've had 8 years in a row or 9 years in a row of no repeat champions. It goes to show you how challenging it is to repeat in this league. So we'll see if they can really do that. But
In boxing, they say when you win a world title, you get 15% better. and you develop this like almost like inherent confidence where like you feel like you're always in a game and so well I think the Knicks are going to be even better than they were last year. I mean, they're keeping their roster intact. They're going to have the same confidence if they can stay healthy. I mean, who's going to beat them? I mean, I don't think that Giannis on Miami is really going to challenge them.
True. What do you think? SGA comes back with the retooled Thunder, fully healthy Jalen Williams. They beat the Spurs. They can come back and reclaim the throne.
Well, as you know, I was rooting for the Spurs over the Thunder, but then once the Thunder started, once they were injured, I do want to see a rematch of a healthy Spurs versus healthy Thunder. And I actually think that it's beautiful that if Wemby is going to become the greatest player of all time, that he's in a conference with potentially matched up against one of the greatest constructed teams of all time with all the assets that the Thunder have. So if Wemby does go and he rips off 3 or 4 championships in the next 5 or 6 years, that will be more impressive than anything that Kobe or Jordan did, because the league is meant to have such parity, and the rules are set with the salary cap and the second apron in a way that makes it harder for dynasties to happen. So Wemby does have a chance to go on an all-time run just because the competition is so high, especially in the West. He's going to have to match up against the Thunder, but the Thunder also have the ability to do that as well, where they get to go through Wemby, one of the greatest, potentially the greatest players of all time, and cement their name as one of the greatest teams, and SGA as one of the greatest players to ever live. So
what about the Nuggets?
Jokic?
We need to just do a Nuggets only podcast because
I know, right? We're like, there's so much we haven't talked about.
I know, but when you look at just the teams and the franchises and the willingness to pay, and I mean, the Nuggets don't have any picks they just got their first 2 second-round picks back in a trade. They have no picks. They have a cheap owner who won't pay, and their front office is nothing compared to Presti. So it's like it's hard to.
Dream matchup. How would the Nuggets have done against the Knicks? I think they would have maybe matched up a little bit better, dude. Jamal Murray going at Jalen Brunson, Joker going at Cat, healthy Aaron Gordon going at OG.
That'd be sick. Yeah, Aaron Gordon versus OG would be those are they're basically like the Spider-Man meme of themselves. You know what I mean?
Like that would be awesome. Hell of a matchup.
Yeah, I do. One of the things, and we always talk about too, like there's a difference between regular season and postseason basketball. Matchups count a lot. Physicality, poise, clutches, all that things. Health, obviously, of course, choose favorite V word variants, right? All those things become magnified. And I know as a basketball lover, and despite all of like the kind of the ref stuff, the flopping stuff, I thought it was an amazing series, and I thought it was an amazing NBA playoffs. And I'm just thankful that we're doing this pod, boys. It's so fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. I do wish the Spurs would have played the Nuggets in the playoffs.
Oh man, I wanted that so bad.
They would have crushed them. They would have crushed them.
Dude,
the Nuggets. The Spurs were so good.
Yeah, it comes down to like what teams can perform in the playoffs, and even like with the Lakers, like after beating the Rockets, we were like, oh, this is so fun, and then like they couldn't do anything against. Look, I don't want to talk about the Austin Reeves. We can't talk about.
We're in trouble.
There's so much. So I guess in terms of this NBA series, in terms of this thing, I mean, what stone have we left unturned? Was there anything that one of you guys were like kind of burning before that we didn't really get a touch on in terms of any of the players, any of the teams,
just a small detail?
Yeah,
just a little small detail. I don't think it would have changed too much because I feel like the Knicks were destined to win this year. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but after those comebacks and everything like that, it was just their year.
Yeah.
But one thing that there were certain adjustments that the coach did and didn't make. One of them was the French vanilla one. The other one was, what I attribute a lot of these losses to, and this series loss, is the lack of experience of the Spurs. And I am surprised at how very little minutes Barnes got.
Yeah.
If Barnes was in on that final possession, I guarantee you he would have boxed out OG.
Yeah.
But instead, you see players like Carter Bryant getting minutes. That's good for experience, but that's not good for winning a chip.
I mean, I don't think putting French vanilla in. I think they're getting ran out of the building with French vanilla. I think he's not providing any offense. Like, yeah, maybe a little bit of defense, but the way where they were going with Cat, OG, Mikhail, Hart, and Brunson, like they're too fast for that.
Yeah, maybe.
There was just certain points in the game where I felt like Wemby's size wasn't enough and the Knicks'
Yeah.
size was getting the boards. It was playing defense, clogging up the lane a
Maybe
certain
they could have
way.
slowed down the
Uh,
game a little bit with French
and then
vanilla.
their offense was taking it to them, and they were able to draw Wemby out on certain plays and then get drives to the lane.
I mean, and then,
Um,
but when you look at the numbers too of like, Castle, Harper, Champagny, like they were putting up decent numbers, but it really never felt like they had an
no,
impact.
KJ disappeared. Keldon
Yeah.
Johnson was
They really didn't
Choke
have
job.
six
Choked.
man. So, it's easy to point the finger at Wemby and say, he choked, but it starts with your leader for sure. But at the end of the day, like KJ, nothing. Fox, huge mistakes. Castle, nothing in the last game. And all the role players, like
Yeah.
none of them had big games throughout that entire series.
right.
You know who was the toughest? You know who played the toughest of all the Spurs? It was the final boss Rodman jersey guy in
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden. Shout out to final boss Spurs,
I don't
dude.
know if we want to chat a little bit about fan behavior. I don't know if that's a topic we
No.
want to touch on.
I don't know. I
I kind
thought
of just want to mention one thing,
choose like fan behavior.
No,
Yeah,
look,
the
I just
morality
think
police
that
coming at you. Okay, let's do
I'm stoked for New York. But I never want to see people getting beat up for a jersey that they're wearing. And if I am
That
the
was
front
rough.
office of a team, I would make a public statement condoning that type of behavior.
Not condoning that type of behavior.
Yeah, not condoning that
Not
type of
condoning
behavior.
it.
My one thing I want to say about the series is I just I underestimated Harper. I think he reminds me of Brandon Roy. He reminds me a mix of like if you were to take Kyrie Irving and Bruce Bowen and
Manu
combine
Ginobili,
them,
Manu
or
Ginobili.
if you were to combine Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson.
He's a
I mean,
lefty, right? Harper's a lefty too. Yeah,
he's a
he is.
lefty, yeah, dude. Like the, offensively, he's incredible, but he's just as good defensively. And he showed so much poise. And we're in the Spurs. The fact that the Spurs drafted him right after Wemby it's so unfair for the league because he's so good. And
Don't,
yeah,
yeah.
the
Don't
league is
forget
in
they got a
trouble.
rookie of the
I
year,
mean,
and yeah, yeah.
The Spurs draft really well, The
Yeah.
following season was Castle,
We can
and
talk.
then
Yeah, we're gonna
was
talk
then
about that.
Harper.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get into that stuff about like next year. We still talk about the drafts, all the trades. It's gonna be an
Yeah.
exciting, fun summer. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We could talk basketball all day, boys. You know.
There's been a lot of there's been about seven or so teams that have had three first round or top five picks in a row, 3 consecutive years. None of them have done anything.
Yeah, I mean, and
So
especially now with the way they changed the draft and the picks and like the percentages and like Drew
yeah,
was talking about earlier with the way that the NBA salaries are set up now and the there's just so much management with like future roster construction and it's not just like it's harder to get these dynasties kind of going. So we're gonna get some lot of fun stuff going. Okay, so I want to make sure we're good. Everyone else, any final remarks
Yeah,
from
yeah.
anybody? I know
Good
Jay. I know
stuff, boy.
you got some scuba diving to do over there, right? You got some snorkeling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Fun
boys.
to do
So
it today.
this has been episode 52 of the Great Western Podcast. We love y'all. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Wow.